Men, what's the most unattractive thing a woman can do on a first date? Talk about her ex too much, especially if that includes talking about how she still lives with him. Be obsessed with her phone. One of the biggest turn-offs I have ever experienced and walked out of dates because of it. Not ask questions about me or taking an interest in me. If I don't feel like you're interested in getting to know me, then I don't really want to get to know you. Act hard to get. It's not big or clever, it just makes us think why bother when you clearly want to be anywhere else. Went on a date with this girl one time and we had planned to grab a bite to eat before heading out to meet up with some of her friends at a local bar that was doing karaoke that night. The very first words out of her mouth were, "I'll take it easy on you so you can buy all of my drinks later." She then proceeded to pull out her cell phone and spent the duration of dinner either ignoring me so she could look at her phone or talking about her ex who she hoped was coming to karaoke that night. The kicker, after dinner she actually had plans to go meet up with another guy for a second date at a dance one of the local colleges was having. She literally planned to go on a date with me, pause to go on a date with another guy, then meet up with me after that. So yeah, don't do that. I have said this before in previous posts like this, but being on your phone the whole time. I was making about $372 a week and I took this girl out on a date. We went out to eat and then a movie. During our meal she never got off her phone, not once, not even while eating her food. The movie came next and what do you know, she was on her phone during the movie. So I asked her who she was talking to and she said to me her ex. I said okay, patiently waited about 5 minutes, got up and said I'm going to the bathroom and left her there. I was her ride home that night. I blocked her number and didn't think twice about it. That date cost me about half my paycheck. Treat wait staff like crap. Be on their phone non-stop. Make or take calls during the date. Smacking food. Talk about an ex. Not trying to engage. I went on a date with a girl that treated our waitress horribly. We were sat down at the table. She was telling me a story. The waitress came over, introduced herself and asked if we wanted drinks. The girl I was with scolded her for interrupting. It was really awkward. The waitress was trying to be polite. She came back to take our orders. The waitress was trying to be friendly. Girl placed her order. Waitress said something along the lines of, "That's a great choice. It's my favorite," and the girl I was with fired back, "I didn't ask you for your opinion." That did it for me. I told the waitress we needed a few more minutes. Asked the girl why she was being so rude and she looked at me like I had a third eye on my forehead. I excused myself. Found the waitress, gave her $40 cash for the beer and the drink my date had, apologized, told her to keep the change and left. As I was leaving the parking lot I got the text from the date cursing me. I didn't read it. I deleted it at the first red light and blocked her number. While not as egregious as other comments, when she makes anything and everything about her as she fights to control the conversational flow, I check out quickly. That's something I learned to work on as I got older. I tend to get overexcited to be talking to people and end up dominating the conversation. As soon as I realized I did it, I've been working on not doing it. But darn is it hard. I feel like a puppy when it happens. Like I'm so excited to be there and be having the conversation I just get out of control. Usually I date taller guys. Tall guy here. Had one tell me how glad she was I wasn't short almost immediately. Red flag. And she kept sending toxic flags for the 20 minutes I could stand her. I was just curious at a certain point. Like seeing a car crash on the side of the road. Good lord, she was dumb. I'm always going to 100% pay for the first date if it's movies, dinner or whatever. But it really bothers when the girl just comes out and says, "You're going to pay for this, right?" Or "I think a guy should always pay," or something like this. When they don't respect you, it's okay to be not want a second date, but don't become so disinterested that you ruin the date. If you don't want to continue, then be polite and respectfully ask to leave. It's okay. I had one like this. We had gone on a coffee date and a mini putt date which both seemingly went very well. We were both smiles and laughs the whole time. A few days later my dad gifted me a pellet grill / smoker. I was excited to try it out, but my roommates were out of town. So I decided to invite the new girl over. I told her what I planned on cooking, but was open to suggestions. I asked if she would bring beer or wine. And she said sure. When she shows up at my door she looks miserable, doesn't move to kiss or hug me, and the first words out of her mouth are I'm only here because my friend is being annoying and I'd rather not sit through dinner with him. Like, oh okay, is that the only reason you're here? She didn't bother to bring anything to drink. Complained the whole time she didn't like smoked salmon and balsamic glazed roast veggies I prepared, which I had told her about when I invited her, and she was actively shutting down any conversation I tried to start. She eventually left, and I proceeded to delete her number. She's obviously not into it anymore for some reason. Right. She calls me a couple days later to tell me off for ghosting her and not trying harder to win her over. She spent an entire evening in my home disrespecting me for no reason, and I'm the bad guy. Lie. Try to achieve a completely unnecessary position of dominance. Not like sometimes having a dominant position isn't fly-off, just there are times when it is better to influence. And guy or girl, no one wants a partner with a chip on their shoulder. Presume things unnecessarily and unfavorably. Basically be an unnecessary pain. I call it the tuna sandwich standard. I can be at home watching TV and eating a tuna sandwich if hanging out with you is less attractive than that. What the heck are we even doing? Tell you everything she hates about you, all the reasons you are lucky to take her out, even though she's too good for you, and imply if you're on your best behavior maybe she'll let you suffer her nitpicking and criticism again another night. Negging isn't cute when women do it either. I went on a date like this. She started the night saying I wasn't really her type, but she still wanted to see how things went. She complained about my height, my looks, my choice of restaurant and the bar we went to. She did nothing but talk up her friends like everything they do is better than anything I do. It wasn't going well. The night couldn't have ended on a funnier note. Her friends came to meet her at the bar. I was meeting friends there too a little later, so I stuck around them for the time being. Her friends loved me lol. They all just talked about how tall I am, how much better looking, how much more interesting, funny, and successful I'm than anyone she's ever dated. I got along with them great, and after the brutal night I was having with my date, the compliments felt great. The girl I was there with had clearly been swayed by their opinions of me, so she texted later and asked for a second date. I turned her down. No funny catch line or anything. I just said no thanks. Purposely get the most expensive thing on the menu or just making the date unnecessarily expensive. If this is how the first date goes, just imagine how expensive life is going to be. A tact I find is to do a coffee date or something similar. That's usually a pay for yourself at the counter sort of thing, and it weeds out those that need to spend money to enjoy themselves. If you can't have an hour-long conversation with nothing but a cup of tea or coffee and maybe a muffin or something, then why am I here? Not against going out to dinner. That's a lot of fun. I just think first dates should usually be coffee dates. Also they are less committal. You don't have to awkwardly make eyes at the waiter to give you your check. If the date is a disaster, you just chuck the coffee you already paid for and give back the Midwestern knee slap whelp. It's that time and leave. I mean, there's a lot of obvious stuff, like gross eating habits and such, or too much phone, or being rude to service industry, but those are things which would cause me to not want any person close in my life. Then there's the stuff that you don't learn until you've got a few years under you, like no man is as good a man as my daddy type stuff. Big red flag, and I know plenty of guys reading this are nodding their heads right now. I briefly dated a girl who led with that years ago, kept going on about how he was the best husband and dad and everything, and how her parents had the perfect marriage and she wanted one like this. By the time I met them, I was already seeing some patterns which worried me in her, but then I saw the perfect marriage of a father completely dominated by a mother who incessantly talked, constantly found ways to spend the good money he made, and completely monopolized every hour of his day with needing to shop here and needing to do this and buy these plants and go to this restaurant. It took me about 30 minutes to see that this guy was suffering a miserable existence in silence and probably had been for years and years. Just went along with everything. The fact that the girl I was dating thought that this represented a perfect marriage and could not perceive that her father was absolutely not a happy man, though kind, for sure, was when I knew she wasn't going to be my future.